Hey, Chinwaggers. As we ring in the new year, we'd like to take a moment to look back at one of our favorite episodes of 2024, featuring the incomparable Natasha Lyonne. Natasha, as you will find out, ranges over many fascinating topics. And it was basically Paul and I were sort of chasing her around in her living room, actually, via Zoom. And she basically was getting into everything from quirks of quantum physics to Kubrick's cinematic genius. I believe she even starts eating pancakes at some point. So enjoy. Let's get into it.
Steve, welcome back to the legendary Chinwag.
It's great to see you. You sound like you just finished a huge meal, and you're just
I thought you were going to say something else. I thought you were going to say, it sounded like I just finished something else. But that's, yes. In fact, I did just have a very tasty meal not long before recording our current episode. I had a really good vermicelli salad with some roasted pork in it. A Vietnamese vermicelli salad with roasted
delicious
pork. Right?
Man, I love Vietnamese food.
Me too.
And stuff. Oh, fantastic.
I like it too. It's good stuff. I like all
that. Good to see you, Kimasabi. Good to see you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Good to be here. Listen, occasionally here at World Headquarters for Chinwag, we get some letters. And actually, we thought maybe we would read this interesting letter.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's great to get these things from people. We get a lot of them.
It's cool.
But I thought maybe we would take a moment to read you this from one of our loyal listeners, Keith, in Boise, Idaho. I'm told it's Boise, not Boise.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think I may have
Boise.
gotten it right. I knew a guy from Boise once who was like, no, it's not Boise. And I might still be saying it wrong, but I know it's not Boise. I know that much. Anyway, out there in Idaho, Keith, shall I regale you with this?
Yeah,
Steve?
Please do.
Hi, guys. I'm an airline pilot from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I live in Boise, Idaho. Now, I wanted to share a quick experience with you guys. Back in 2006, my wife and I sat down our back deck on a Friday night around midnight, which is right on the Boise River, about 2 miles east of downtown Boise. Boy, I'm having to say Boise a lot.
Yeah,
so I better be saying it right.
Wait, first of all, I got to interrupt right away, which is who goes out on their back deck at midnight in a rural place? I just be thinking Bigfoot right away. Like that would be scary.
Let's keep reading. Go ahead. Let's keep reading. Clearly, people have a lot of guts out there in Boise, Idaho.
Courageous.
It was very dark. You could barely see your hand in front of your face. We each cracked open a beer. This sounds great. These people have the life. And a few minutes later, my wife says, "What's that?" Of course, because it was so dark, I had no idea where she was talking, but what she was talking about. But I looked up in the sky and saw a very large object about the size of a football field that looked like an asymmetrical naval ship flying from west to east at roughly 3,000 feet above the ground. This is a guy who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
It was not flying directly overhead, but roughly a half a mile away. When it flew over, I noticed a string of lights, pink, blue, and white in color, covering the bottom as if a mesh net was hanging from the bottom of the aircraft. This is amazing. There was also a strange mesh-like material, almost like cotton, that was intermingled with the lights. I said to my wife, "That's a goddamn UFO." That was me playing this. That's when I play the guy in the movie, when I play Keith in the movie. That's a goddamn UFO. It made no noise while it was flying, and I watched it continue on its path for probably a mile, and then it made an immediate, very abrupt left turn, and for lack of a better term, at the speed of light, was gone. As a pilot, I have seen a handful of things that cannot be explained, and I've heard many stories from fellow pilots about glowing orange balls in the sky, etc. However, what intrigued me the most about your podcast was the relationship between Bigfoot and UFOs.
Here we go.
Now here we get down to it.
Here we go.
Many years ago, a friend and I were talking about it, and I came up with the term IDST, which stands for Interdimensional Sasquatch Travel.
Fantastic.
Man,
fantastic.
I have a friend that was a Navy SEAL, and many years ago, they were in the Cascade Mountains for a 6-man training expedition. Boy, this is getting deep.
Yeah, this is elaborate.
I know, this is like Black Ops. On the first night, something was throwing baseball-sized rocks at them and harassing them at night. That's like a classic sort of Sasquatch thing. They had night vision goggles, but it seemed just as they were getting closer, it was suddenly further away. They were crossing a stream bed the next day where this guy saw Bigfoot tracks crossing the stream, forever changed his life. Later in life, he spent a lot of time in the mountains of West Virginia investigating Bigfoot sightings, talking to state police and people that lived there, etc. His stories helped form my opinion for IDST. Anyway, I want to say thank you to both of you. I love listening to podcasts. Can't believe somebody's finally talking about this stuff in a serious manner. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Me too. I gave you a 5-star rating.
I don't know about serious, but thank you.
No, well, listen, about as serious as I can be. So this is interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole school of thought about Sasquatch and UFOs that they're.
Well, I like it when a pilot tells me a UFO story. I always perk up a little bit and pay more attention because they know more about like. When I hear the average schlub like me, they don't know distances and speed, but a pilot does,
Yeah.
So I'm inclined.
Yeah, and it's this guy. The other guy's a Navy SEAL, and he's talking about seeing the Sasquatch and stuff like that. But the interdimensional Sasquatch travel, that's the thing I was talking about how I think it's some kind of interdimensional thing, or dare I say something from the future that you're encountering in a sort of fluke. You really don't buy that, do you?
Here's where, I got to part company with you on this. Now I'm with you on Sasquatch, but I part company on the interdimensional travel. That's where I have to draw the line in the sand.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of interdimensional travel, let's get to this guest of ours today, because I think she's visiting us from another dimension, frankly.
She is traveling through time and space.
Space and time. She is bending space and time to her will. Our guest today.
She is quantum mechanics.
She is quantum mechanics itself. She is a quark. She is proof of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. You know what I mean? Our guest today is a fantastic actor and filmmaker, 5-time Emmy and Golden Globe nominee. She has starred in dozens of films and TV series, including more recently Netflix's Orange is the New Black and Russian Doll, which she also co-created, wrote, produced, and directed.
It's very good.
It's great.
Yeah.
Next, she'll appear in the film His Three Daughters and the much-awaited second season of Peacock's Poker Face, which is also great. If you love those kinds of 70s detective shows, and I do, it's great. If that's not enough, she also directed the Netflix comedy special Jacqueline Novak, Get on Your Knees. Well, we are thrilled is the word, to have her join us on Chinwag. Please welcome the incredibly talented and busy Ms. Natasha Lyonne. Hello.
Paul, your mic is off. Hi, Natasha.
Now it's on. Hi.
Oh, God. How's that? Is that working now? Can you hear me?
Oh, it's working. It's working.
Wow,
good.
where are you? Were you like a Malibu? Look at that. You're all like in the couch with the light coming through the window. What is going on?
Baby, listen. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers got to live.
Where are you? Look at that couch.
I'm in my house.
That is some couch, though.
It's a scam couch. It's like I went to some sort of a department store Christmas party, and I got a gift certificate, and I said, how about sofas? I've never bought one of those. Look, there's my dog.
Oh, nice.
Oh, now this is,
that's a matching sofa. Look at this fucking face.
Holy mackerel.
Wow, great dog.
Holy cow. What'd you say about Columbo? What'd you just say?
I said, it's your friend Columbo.
In the background? Is that the poster?
Oh, there you go.
Sweet.
I know that you're very famous for saying Peter Falk sucks, right? That's you?
I never said anything, but that was not me.
That could have been me, but not Paul.
That's a weird accusation. That's a weird thing to lead off with.
I actually came here. Paul, I came here to say, why do you have a Peter Falk sucks tattoo on your back?
On my ass? I'm at the base of my spine?
We've seen the beach photos.
Falk sucks? Oh, we've seen those. We have seen those. But you know what? That's not my ass. I don't know who that is. That's not my ass.
No, Stephen, that's your ass.
No,
okay.
Stephen's ass.
Weird.
I got a ton of anti-Columbo tattoos.
Are you serious about that, or are you just making that up?
Nobody
I never
knows.
would say that.
It's now, I guess it's
now it is. Now it's
a thing.
Now it's going to be all. Now it's etched in stone on the internet that I've said Peter Falk sucks. Why?
On your ass in a bikini photo.
Why would I say Peter Falk sucks? I would never say Peter Falk sucks.
Jealousy, man.
Jealousy? That's one reason.
Maybe.
That's one reason. But wait a second. You're a Columbo fan, right? You're a big Columbo fan.
I do, of course, love Columbo, but I guess I really love Wings of Desire.
Yes.
And I really love Woman Under the Influence.
Wings of Desire.
All of those things. Woman Under the Influence. Husbands. Do you like Husbands? That movie?
What if I said, no, fuck husbands? Like you
Well,
have
that'd be interesting.
That's my beach body tattoo is
I
fuck husbands.
No, this is right.
It goes for both tits.
That's the Cassavetes line. That's where you draw the line with Cassavetes. Yeah.
Why did she get that tattoo? She's really passionate about Cassavetes, but she fucking
hates husbands.
She hates Ben Gazzara.
That's it.
She hates Ben Gazzara like Giamatti hates Peter Falk.
Basta with Gazzara. Basta with Ben Gazzara. Did you ever run into Ben Gazzara? Did you ever meet Ben Gazzara?
I wish I did. I think I met Seymour Cassell.
Oh.
Not bragging, just name dropping like a motherfucker.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Seymour Cassell.
I'm not sure he clocked it, but I did. Big moment for me. Not so much for Seymour.
Wasn't Ben Gazzara? Wasn't he in Big Lebowski or something? Didn't he have a late career appearance?
He had a
Big
late
Lebowski?
career. He had a career bounce. He had a career boom.
I think it was Buffalo 66 that we're thinking of.
Oh, Buffalo 66.
Buffalo 66.
Remember with Angelica Houston and they're in the house?
Yeah.
And Vincent brings him back to the family. And
Vincent Gallo. That's right. And Buffalo 66.
And he brings a little Christina back there. And he's like, this is my fucked up family, Angelica Houston and Ben Gazzara. I didn't even know that I knew that until this moment.
That's incredible that you just pulled that out of nowhere.
Listen, this brain is a mess, but I don't know.
Listen, this is already cooking. This episode of this show is cooking
like
already.
An archive.
I've only brought one thing to our meeting. This is the book I'm reading.
Putting Ourselves Back in the Equation by George Musser.
No, what's the story with why physicists are studying human consciousness and AI to unravel the mysteries of the universe.
You were in our wheelhouse.
So here we go.
But I'm only on page 8, boys.
Listen, that's further than I would get. I wouldn't get past that fucking title, which was pretty challenging for me.
But I've read the back, and I'm a big fan of this guy, Carlo Rovelli. And I base season 2 of Russian Doll is pretty much just a direct rip of this book of his, The Order of Time.
Rovelli.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What's the story? Tell me about Tell us about. I didn't know this. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense that you would be that you're into the physics.
Yeah.
But no. What's the deal with physics with you? Tell me about it.
So I think when I let's say dropped out of life, in the early aughts, I was sort of trying to figure out what the game was all about, and. The way I found my way back home, I guess, was through science, because I was like, oh, this is something
rational,
not warped. It's not Fellini-esque. It's sort of practical and much larger than anything I can conceive of. So I sort of put my focus there as a sort of white noise sound, like some people enjoy the waves or whatever crashing, and I enjoy listening to sort of the quantum physics audiobook as I fall asleep at night, while playing Zelda or something. I find that to be peaceful, and I don't necessarily claim to understand what I'm sort of hearing or thinking, but maybe it's the same kind of relief other people get from, I guess, cults, something like that.
For instance,
For
example, listen, I can sometimes see the comforts of Scientology. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, here it comes.
No, listen, I didn't say I'm
Wait, how do we switch to Scientology?
All right,
forget science.
No, here's what I wanted to say about that. Wait a second. Yeah. Here's what I wanted to say about that is that.
It's about L. Ron.
No, wait a minute.
You see how we turned you around like this?
Stop. Everybody stop for a second. Here's what I want to say. Didn't you find, though, that eventually with physics and quantum mechanics and stuff like that in fact it is kind of Fellini-esque and it is kind of insane? I mean, because it seems, that's my thing about that stuff is that, it's supposed to be all rational and then it's nuts. It's the cat's both alive and dead in the box and all that stuff. And it's all this
kind of... Turns out Schrodinger was a pedo. Not a lot of people talking about it. Yeah.
Oh my God. Here we
waiting
go.
for his cancellation. But nobody cares.
Forget his physics. He was a pedo.
They just care about the fucking, is the cat alive or dead?
Oh, God, here we
Nobody
go.
cares about his personal life.
Let's cancel Schrodinger.
I'm here to
Jesus.
cancel Schrodinger. That's the only reason I'm on this fucking podcast.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, we've done a few episodes on that already.
Pedos?
but-
No, we haven't.
No.
No, we haven't. Well, open the box and guess what? Schrodinger's a pedo. That's what's okay.
Yeah. The cat's like, I got to get out of here, guys. So, both in this life and the next. All right, cool combo. Am I alive or dead? Get me the fuck away from this guy.
Okay, but how did you what was it about this stuff that that relaxed you? Like, is it like just you would hear them like the pop, like somebody is reading like a book about quantum mechanics and you're like, yeah, this kind of shuts off my brain, or your brain would follow it and it would like help de-stress you.
Answer questions or something.
Yeah, I guess all of the above. And also to you, Mr. Giamatti, that it also is ultimately completely Fellini-esque, but I think that therefore it makes more sense of this sort of underlying circus that we must participate in and have sort of seemingly chosen to engage in. So it sort of is supported by the fact that yes, like the music of the spheres and string theory and the many worlds and whatever else, dark matter. Now I understand why this whole operation is so fucking nuts. Do I know why I'm still involved or engaging in the rat race at all? I'm not sure, but I guess the stakes have never been lower is all I know. And so it sort of is grounding. And I guess as a writer or whatever, there's so much fun story to glean through a certain kind of lens because, it's not a ton of people are trying to do a half-hour comedy from that place. So it really seems like an open market.
That's a big market.
Hey, there was the Big Bang Theory. Sorry, I hate to tell you.
It's true. When you're right, you're right.
I hate to tell you.
I've been Chuck Lorre'd yet again.
Chuck Lorre'd.
Yeah.
Well, here, so basically, you're saying to some extent, if I follow you, and I'm not going to guarantee that I am so far, but I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm trying. Is that you what you liked about it is it's kind of not starting from, but at least it gives you a grounding in absurdity and things being crazy. Shit is crazy at a quantum level. So maybe that sort of explains or makes it more comfortable to live in a place and among people and in a society and connected culturally to other entities that are chaotic and insane and absurd.
Nice.
I would say yes. And I also do like the sort of mathematics of it, the structure of it. So I quite enjoy, I think, a sort of like boundary disciplined life in a way or form in which there are sort of rules of play within which to go, completely
Crazy.
Mad. And so
amazing.
I think that part of it is also, just a sort of structural mathematic thing that makes everything else make more sense. Like,
that's cool.
I see that there's something, and on some level, I think it's probably why we all have such boners for Kubrick. It's like he really is, especially in something like
You're right.
A Clockwork. It's you really see that there's here's like a crazy sped up three-way and Beethoven and whatever, and the madman driving this car and the shot and the ultra violence and all these things, but there's a mathematics to it that's sort of precision that allows the brain to sort of process what it's seeing on sort of multiple levels at all times. And that's why we think of him as such a giant.
That's interesting. Super disciplined. His stuff is super disciplined.
Yeah.
But I actually really love the movie Barry Lyndon. It's one of my favorite movies.
I can see that about you.
And I know it's me with the powdered wigs and the hosiery and the buckled shoes.
No, but I genuinely,
Really? Why? Why did you say that?
I guess because
the low morals.
No, I just think that it's you do beautiful work, and it's I could see that you're somebody who would really enjoy being a part of that kind of a picture.
I would. I mean, I think we all would. But what's interesting about that is there is this incredibly contained. It's all about this society where everything is incredibly rational. and yet
Yeah.
it's completely batshit underneath it. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the inverse of what you were just saying, though, too. It's like almost the opposite of Clockwork Orange, or no, maybe not.
Well, but
mean,
it's Strangelove too.
Yeah, his stuff is all about these structures holding in all the fucking absurdity and insanity, but it's like mathematically, everything's very pristine.
Yes, and it's sort of like within that framework. I mean, really, Peter Sellers, like, what a guy. I think also canceled probably like me after this podcast. But it's again like there's this. It's fascinating thing of like the ability to sort of do a sort of a version of a comedy that sort of transcends like a language. It's not comedy. It's not anything. It's sort of Sellers like going off, and again, it's within like even that sort of war room is so structurally sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But him too, as a performer, incredibly disciplined, apparently.
Yes.
And like incredible discipline about those accents, incredible discipline about everything.
Yeah, right.
And completely out of his fucking mind.
Oh, yes, at the expense of his family, I believe.
Everything, like totally out of his mind.
Wait. In what way? Was he doing substances, or he just was a wild man?
I think he was just an egomaniac, mostly, right?
It sounds to me like he maybe had some mental health issues, if that's the phrase I want to use. I mean, it sounds like he was, I don't know, he sounds like he was crazy. I mean, in some way, right? I mean, he was.
I guess, is it a time crime kind of crazy though? Like, you know what I mean? I guess at that time, it was really just, being like a narcissist was sort of business as usual.
Yes.
And so I wonder if he knew that he was being sort of like, whatever it was, emotionally abusive or sort of like, so solipsistic to be at the expense of his own family members or crew members or whatever. Who knows?
Or to what extent is something like that facilitating a lunatic? I mean, it's also facilitating a lunatic who's clearly a narcissistic loon. Yeah. And so he's getting permission. So talented, but also incredibly, I like this whole, like the incredibly disciplined thing allowing you to be insane.
Yeah, there's a theory called the weakness of strength, where somebody like this has an amazing ability to like inhabit a character and be these different people, chameleon style, but then that makes them difficult to live with as like a husband or a father. Like it's the thing that makes them amazing at their job that also makes them like hell in like a personal realm. And this is very common.
That's super common. That's like everybody.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It is.
But on the deepest level becomes sort of like the real game then is like the talent to back up the talent or whatever, that's really the game of the riddle of life or something, it seems, as you grow up, is to try to figure out how to, also be a human being, like, so. I think I enjoy it's also sometimes just reading, but for these reasons, that it sort of like kind of grounds everything in its sort of right sizeness of, like it's a very basic shit of just like the tiny speck in a much bigger picture. So like, it's a good perspective. I can't say that I'm holding on to it on a moment to moment basis, but listen, it's a nice enough touchstone.
Look at that house you have. It's a very ordered environment for you to be bonkers in a sense.
Yes, essentially. Yeah.
Keep it very
tidy.
Listen, if I may, I'm going to quote French writer Gustave Flaubert.
Right. Please do.
If I may, I'm going to, as per usual, I'm going to quote famous French writer Gustave Flaubert, who I believe said something along the lines of, be the perfect bourgeois in your life, but be insane in your work.
Oh,
interesting.
Good advice.
Thanks for joining us on Chinwag for this week. Let's
very nice.
That killed the vibe, didn't it?
Way to suck the air out of the room.
It did, and I think we were all like, bourgeois, huh? Okay.
Well, you know what I mean. Here you meant like be that
rock way, right?
Be that perfect middle class like guy. Be that guy. Be that person who lives everything just right, so that in your work you can go bananas. Oh, you like a math person anyway? Were you good at math?
I mean, no, not especially. But, I guess Russian doll is a very, like, the Hofstadter endeavor. Like, I'm a strange loop. So it's all sort of, it is inherently, I guess that's where it really jumped off as a profession.
It's an awesome show.
It became
it's
a sort of
fantastic.
thing. But it became a sort of a, like a necessary aspect of the job, but it was the job that I created because that was the area of interest, But I do think that before I dropped out of college, because I kept expecting this thing called tuition, I thought was insane. But I mean, the goal was to be like a philosophy, right? It was like a film and philosophy double major, and
there you go.
So I think it really is an expedition to try to figure out
where are we going right now. Are we going to go make a sandwich? What are we doing? Where are we going? We're going to get some soup. What are we doing?
We're getting root beer, pea, or a snack, so she doesn't bark.
Okay,
but
this is exciting. I wish the folks at home can follow this. This is an action sequence for the first time at Chinwag. I mean, we're just walking all over the fucking house.
It's a body cam.
It really is incredible.
Yes,
You're getting the dog a snack so the dog will just remain peaceable?
Yeah, that's not what you do for yourself. Like, I'm like, let me just grab a snack. This will all work out.
No, understood. No, that's nice. I want the folks at home to know exactly what's going on in this exciting moment.
It looked for a moment like Requiem for a Dream. But all it was a greenie for root beer. It was a greenie for root beer. My boyfriend recently did a funny greenies bit. He said, I just had one of these. They're delicious. And I was horrified. And thankfully it was a bit.
Did he try the food and he thought it was delicious?
Yeah.
I'm frequently tempted to eat the cat's food when I'm looking at it.
Is it wet food or dry food?
Either one. Well, the dry one's not as tempting looking as the wet food. And frequently I'm like, that's got to taste good. But,
nobody wants the dry food.
No, that'll get stuck in my teeth. And I don't.
Eat it in a bunker. You know what I mean? I'm not ashamed to say it. I'll be honest. I don't know why everyone is always so freaked out about
Wait
cannibalism.
a second. Is it true? Wait a second. Wait a second. Speaking of bunkers, I'm not going to go there. Not that bunker.
Yeah.
But are you a prepper? Did somebody tell me you're a prepper?
Oh.
Only philosophically. I can't say there's much action. There's much action behind it.
You don't got canned foods all lined up in your pantry.
Yeah, but I will say that, like, I definitely will date, like a dad who's a prepper. You know what I mean? Like somebody who I know can get me. I think my attraction to men is definitely like, you're going to be able to get us out of this fucking dystopian nightmare that's coming, right? Because I can't even read a map. You know what I mean? Like, that is definitely how I'm gauging men.
I think that's pretty sound. I think that's wise.
Yeah, when everything goes sideways, you need somebody that can, like, fix a car and, like, hunt an animal or whatever.
Yeah. So that's my type. It turns out,
Huh.
But there's many ways that can happen. You know what I mean? Some of it, intellectually, they can get you out of it, or physically they can get you. Yeah, I'm just saying that there's options. There's all kinds of men that can handle.
There sure are. No, that's interesting.
I think there's less and less men that can handle that. To be honest, like
it's probably true. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why,
because
Steve? You think there's a crisis in masculinity? Steve, is there a crisis in American masculinity? Is that where we're going?
Somebody had to say it. Thank you, Paul. But I look at my old man, he could do anything. I can do half of that, and my son can do half of that. And the next generation will be entirely digital and half like robot.
Is that what you think?
I do. I think people
skills are disappearing, like actual skills and sort of
manual labor skills are disappearing. Yeah,
well, that's probably true.
But I think maybe like weaponry sort of familiarity might be up. So I guess it depends what the scenario is. No, I think I've seen some videos that'll
gun ownership.
Yeah, like I think that there's I got a pop-up ad on my social media for like a tank. And I was like, what the fuck do they think I need this for?
Well, you know what? I'm not surprised you did, frankly. I mean,
makes sense.
For like a surplus tank? Really?
No, it's like a new car. And I was sort of like, I was shopping for a car, and clearly the tech is listening at all times. And I'm literally like, I guess maybe an Audi, but who the fuck wants an Audi? I don't know. What are these cars? Do you got a Prius? Like, I'm from New York. And so suddenly I had a pop-up ad for something that was like a fucking tank.
Really?
It was, it was
Oh my God.
sort of doomsday vehicle.
Really?
That'll
Troop transport.
and like a safe place for your M16 and the whole nine.
Yeah, well, that's true. And I suppose you're right, Steve, too, that they're all getting like first-person shooter training on things. So it's like maybe that those skills are up. But you're right that, I mean, people, I don't think people know how to fix a toilet anymore, particularly, you know?
Well, the old, there's some evidence that guys that fought in like World War II and in Vietnam oftentimes never discharged their weapon. But guys that fought in like Iraq and Afghanistan, because here's the argument, is that they were sort of weaned on gaming. They fucking pull the trigger and never stop pulling the trigger. They just keep like emptying the magazine over and over again.
Interesting, because
could
that's
be a
what you're
result
supposed to do. Huh.
I don't know.
Very interesting.
It may not be effective, but
no, that's super interesting, and it makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And actually, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your horror film, Natasha. That there's some of these guys that are fighting over there will actually create like a narrative where the enemy is a zombie, and they'll get a patch, and as they kill guys, they'll put patches like of zombie killer on their sleeves and shit.
Oh, really?
And anyway, that's not the question I wanted to ask, but
I'm sorry, did that sentence start with, I want to ask you about your horror film?
Yeah, that's right.
But you meant it in the abstract, right?
In the abstract.
There's not a film
Anyway.
I made that I missed about zombies. And did I make Jacob's
It's the
Ladder?
chin
I
wag.
wish I did.
It's the
I
chin
wish
wag.
I made Jacob's
I
Ladder.
think. Listen, I got a couple of those in the back catalog that I've forgotten about.
It's been fucking decades. It could have happened.
I wanted to ask you about this film Anti-Birth, which you did, and that was like really disturbing. And
yes, thanks.
You know, it's that kind of body horror genre that is really, I'm very squeamish about it, but it was really, I mean, if you were trying to really upset people, it was effective. I was upset
you're
by
welcome.
It. Yeah.
That's too bad.
Is that the stuff though that you like?
You know, I mean, I guess it depends. Do I love Friedkin? I mean, The Exorcist, is that horror? Is it filmmaking? I don't know. I would say, like, am I the guy that really just wants to see a bunch of, like, blood splatter? No. Texas Chainsaw, I mean, like, that's so well made.
It's a great movie.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean.
Great
So it's
movie.
like, I think I do love filmmaking, and I am... Have you seen Talk to Me, this recent film that the Philippou brothers made with Sophie Wilde? It's fucking bananas. Like,
really,
it's so good on a filmmaking level, and it's terrifying, you know. Jacob's Ladder is one of my favorite films. Back to that,
yeah. Great one.
But I don't know that in general. I'm like, I don't think I love a B movie. You
like a good movie, and if it happens to be a horror movie, fine.
Yeah, I think
or horrific or something.
Exactly. And then also to Anti-Birth, it's my friend, this guy Danny Perez, who's great, who done sort of like all the visuals and stuff for this band Animal Collective, and this is I guess now maybe a decade ago, this movie. And my best friend Chloe Sevigny was in it also, and I also got to produce it. And so it was really about, I guess, going on his ride of his first feature, and you know, that kind of a thing. And I did like philosophically what he was after. I'm somewhat interested in body horror sometimes, I guess, like Cronenberg. I mean, obviously, it's fucking magnificent body horror. Rationale 2 does sort of, it found its way to body horror, but it wasn't intentional, like sort of the giving birth to myself while in my mother's body on the train tracks, or I guess the subway platform. And that ended up being a sort of philosophical body horror that sort of evolved in the writer's room of, you know, an actual sort of Russian doll that was still just trying to, you know, touch this thematic North Star of like, I don't know, making, you know, peace with one's own wounds on a quantum sort of trauma solving level. But it was interesting to then realize that below the level of consciousness, maybe what I was after was this sort of larger questions about the feminine body, or the idea of like, you know, I'm at that age of, you know, what is it to have a child, not have a child, make those choices, and all these things. So I don't know. I mean, questions within questions, like they're sort of made, for me at least, tracked structurally in a way that was sort of like the next step. I don't know that in a vacuum I'm like, a body horror, but like fucking Jeff Goldblum in The Fly, my God, it's fucking impeccable.
I saw that recently. I hadn't seen that in a long time, and I forgot just how fucked up that movie actually was. Yeah, it was so much more fucked up than I remembered it being. I think I blocked a lot of it out as a youth, as a child. I don't think I could handle a lot of it.
When's the last time you've seen Videodrome?
I haven't seen that in a long time either.
Yeah,
I haven't. My kid, God bless him, is really into those movies, so I got to watch them with him sometime. Videodrome was fantastic.
Is he Slither? Is that Cronenberg? Is that Slither?
What is Slither?
I don't know, but I could Google it.
Let's find out. Google it. But if you don't mind, we'll get the guests to Google this while we have Slither is, wait a minute, what is Slither, Steve? Is that a recent thing?
No, I thought it might have been one of his first movies.
Maybe.
I could be thinking of a different...
you're thinking, so there's one in 1973 and one more recently. Your friend, Jimmy Can, in it.
My friend, Jimmy Can? Jimmy Can is my friend?
I've just decided, and your ex-girlfriend, Louise Lasser, you were cheating on her, I believe.
Oh, my God. With Jimmy Can.
To Sally Kellerman at the time.
Louise Lasser.
And Peter Boyle is your dad, and you're a Nepo baby.
Did Elliot Gould show up at some point?
Actually, he's not involved, and it turns out the director is not Cronenberg. It's Slither,
so
a movie about
detour.
a car thief on parole.
I've seen that movie.
You might be thinking about Thief. That's also, I think,
No. I've seen
Tangerine Dream.
I've seen Slither. Slither. I've seen it.
Of course, I made all of your fucking tens of it, so I'm not shocked.
Listen, I was deeply embroiled with all those people. Sally Kellerman. My God, Sally Kellerman.
What a piece, Can you still say that? Oh, no. There's also Slither, of course. That's Sharon Stone.
That was Sharon Stone.
Hot picture. Okay.
A very hot picture.
Okay.
I've seen Slither, and it's interesting because I saw that movie, and I thought to myself, Jimmy Caan is an interesting actor.
Yes, he is.
Because I thought in those early years of Jimmy Caan, I think, pre-Godfather, around The Godfather, a lot of different movies, he plays these very kind of schmoey guys. He's not playing the tough guy all the time. He plays kind of a schmoey guy. And it's interesting because you think of him as a tough guy all the time. Because you think of Sonny, the Godfather, Sonny Corleone, and then Thief and stuff. But it's interesting. He plays a lot of in that movie, he just plays this kind of not super bright, kind of schmoey, schmucky, sad sacky guy. That's Jimmy Caan.
So, not to say I wasn't listening, because we all love Jimmy Caan, but Slither was also a 2006 James Gunn.
What?
So, and this seems to be a body horror movie. I'm looking at it. The poster has like leeches or something in a bathtub.
Yes, here we go.
And Elizabeth Banks is involved, but it's still no Cronenberg. So we've now solved 3 cases.
I remember that movie.
I appreciate you chasing this down for me.
I remember
appreciate that.
I remember that.
Yes. The only one I've seen is Slither, which would exist as a typo.
Yes. I remember the Liz Bank giant bathtub full of parasites picture very well.
There we go.
You do?
I remember that picture. I remember it vividly. I do remember seeing that movie because I enjoy things like this.
You do?
Like horror. Oh, you do? Yeah, I like horror movies.
Oh, good.
He's a huge horror fan.
You know what I'm getting you for Christmas?
Oh, really? You're going to get me? I don't know. What's coming my way? Like a value pack of DVDs you found in a bin and somewhere?
No, a fetus in a box or something.
An actual horror film.
Uh-oh. Boy, oh
boy.
Well, your series, Russian Doll, does seem really existential to me. And I heard that you were into existentialism. And what I want to know is, like, how'd you get into it? Go ahead, Paul.
No, before we talk about it, I need it defined. I need a definition because I'm not sure that I really actually know in a lot of ways exactly what it means.
Okay.
Now, Steve's a philosopher, so he can tell us like the very technical
dictionary definition.
Yeah, no, or whatever.
Great.
Yeah, because that's exactly,
Okay, so traditionally, like, it arose during, like, right after World War II, because in Europe, everything was shit. And even before that, Nietzsche had said, God is dead. So the idea is basically the old formulas for meaning and purpose are gone. So the existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre and Camus, which actually they had a big influence on, like German Expressionism and also film noir, they thought like you have to make the meaning yourself. There's no religion can give it to you, no science can give it to you. You have to make your own purpose by your own choices and your own decisions and your actions. And so a lot of people were frightened by it, but it had a huge influence on film.
Because it seems to mean there's no guideposts. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
It seems to
Potentially.
be what it means.
It scared a lot of people. Yeah.
Is Kierkegaard an existentialist?
Yeah.
Like this idea of
He's
anxiety.
a proto.
It goes back, doesn't it?
Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom, that kind of a thing. Is that?
Yes.
I'm asking you as the professional.
Yes,
Say that again. Hold on. What did you say?
Yeah, say it again, Natasha.
Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. That's a Kierkegaard, right? So is that sort of in the realm, would you say?
Absolutely. That's like he said anxiety, which is, we know this word angst, and it means dread or anxiety. And then Camus and Sartre said, you're condemned to be free. It's very unpleasant to be this free because it makes you anxious. You have nobody to ask, what should I do? So it has this dark night of the soul, and that can be nihilistic. So you could end up being everything bagel, just totally nihilist, or you can rise above. And that's what I think is happening in your character somewhat in Russian Doll. This is just me, but you can sort of figure out your way, and then you come out of nihilism and have like positive purpose, but you have to make it yourself.
Yeah, that is sort of that journey from nihilism to sort of connectedness. Is sort of the character arc there, and then sort of like a level deeper of, okay, great. Now that you're a participating member of society, now what? Because it comes with its own questions all over again. Incidentally, I do think that Anxiety, the Dizziness of Freedom is maybe the title of a Ted Chiang short story, which is just a way of naming him because I love him so much.
We talked to him. We talked to him.
He's on the Chinway.
We had him on because we love him too.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a pretty one of a kind fellow. And I do think that it was, it's all the things you're saying. It's like that Camus quote, I remember like really in my, tough times, I thought about it so much, like something like the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Sort of this idea that essentially, I guess,
choosing to keep living, that's like a suicide. Rather than kill yourself, the most radical thing you can do is to continue living. Is that right? Isn't that sort of what he was talking about?
Kind of, or also like, that in the, absurdity of the riddle that is the game of life, the thinking man, who's most of us, let's hope, is sort of like doomed to sort of question these things. And as a teenager, that person from which I never evolved, I mostly just run by this inner child, and with the attitude of that same sort of pseudo-intellectual teenager on acid, I don't know. It just sort of like, it feels like, oh, right. Like, thank God nobody can actually, read my thoughts or something. Like, I'm allowed to exist in my own space in this life, in my own way. And for better or worse, you know what I mean? Like it's I guess a way of sort of like claiming free will in a world that sort of says no. We've made the rules already, and so get on the bus. So no, I don't think of it as a sort of a necessarily negative, I guess, but now in more, daily life, I think everybody throws it around, and it really just means, sort of having any sort of existential crisis or whatever. It's like in every, I'm sure that, have you ever played a character that's not an anti-hero who's not having an existential crisis of some sort? So it's sort of become so widespread that it can mean just about anything.
It does kind of. And that's where it gets me a little confused. And I've gotten a little lost sometimes with it because I'm like, what exactly? It's kind of been devalued a little bit because people throw it around so much.
Yeah, but it's probably not surprising that they're throwing it around so much because, it's probably meaning a reflection of our modern times and sort of a global soul sickness that people are suffering from, that it's become so workaday.
Yeah, soul sickness is a good phrase because it seems like in our culture, we know how to chase like pleasure and happiness, but we aren't talking about purpose at all because the old language is just religious. If you're not religious, you don't have a new language yet for talking about purpose. It just seems like you're being pompous or something to talk about the meaning of life. Oh, you should just.
I love it. I mean, that's on day one of the Russian Writers Room. It's really funny that we're talking about it so much here today. I guess it is sort of that type of the two of yous, but these type of guys. But I came in with Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, and
great.
This Doug Hofstadter, I Am a Strange Loop, and that Wilhelm Reich for beginners. So, orgone therapy and sort of, I guess, that question of a pleasure-seeking machine. And I sort of was trying to reconcile, I guess, that question of like, what, how do you make a half-hour comedy that asks these questions? Because wouldn't that be fun?
You're making me want to do a half-hour comedy about a guy who's stuck in an orgone box. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So by the way,
do you by the way
explain the orgone?
By the way, it ain't. It ain't. You're gonna get chock full of
Yeah.
orgone energy.
I'm starting a Google Doc.
That guy's a whole other ball of wax. That's super interesting to me, right? I mean, Steve, do you know much about him? Have you read that stuff?
No,
Natasha, have you read? I've never read any.
Enough. And there's also that great documentary on him that's super weird. Have you seen that?
No.
It's also, I mean, he's a pretty interesting character. I mean, like some of these guys are sort of like crackpots in a way, like a Kurzweil or a Ray Kurzweil or something, but they're also kind of fascinating in their sort of like their first thesis. It's just that it gets out of whack as time goes on, like your friend Elron.
Okay. All right. Take it easy. Take it easy. And steady. But I know, all right. That's all I need now. But Wilhelm Reich had this whole, I mean, his whole thing was, the basis of his whole thing was the orgasm. Was that the people needed to, that it was this sort of freeing concept and actual experience that was going to sort of like, that freed people up for, I don't know what he based this in, what kind of biological things.
Research, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, it kind of makes sense.
Lots and lots of research. But I don't know what okay, all right. With mice. He was getting mice off. He was getting mice off in a maze. They were all getting off. But he had this whole theory that there was this orgone energy that came from space. And I'm not exactly sure. Do you know what? And that you could sit in these boxes that gathered orgone energy, and you would sort of build up this sort of the equivalent of just getting off constantly. You were getting the orgone energy, and he got
sort of like
jailed.
TM.
He got thrown in jail. A little bit like TM, just a touch, but he got thrown in jail, and I think he got in all kinds of trouble.
He did.
I don't know whether for that or for what, but he got in trouble.
Yeah. World War II came around, and a lot of people, had a bad time.
He's interesting now. He's very interesting.
Yes.
Now here,
another canceled guy, Woody, of course. I think Sleeper, right? And Sleeper, isn't he walking around with that little silver ball?
He goes in the orgasmatron or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that that's another Reichian sort of a
little
touch.
riff, little witty riff on Wilhelm Reich. Now, where are you, by the way? Where are you?
Nobody knows.
On planet Earth. Oh, okay. Undisclosed location. All right. Got it. Okay. Got it.
That's the trick of the game.
Got it. Stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe.
In a silo.
California.
No, wait a second. Speaking of outer space, what's your take on extraterrestrials? What's your take on extraterrestrial life?
Interesting.
What is your take on aliens? And have you ever had any experience with them?
Unfortunately, I have yet to experience one directly. I am hoping that that's coming in Act 3. It's really why I continue to really participate. I do think it is a weird sign of modern times that I guess we've recently gotten so much evidence that there's all kinds of files, and there was sort of
recently.
Like didn't the Pentagon come out and say like, no, for sure, like that's aliens, and everyone was just.
Yeah.
Like, hey, wait a minute.
Or they say the tech is not.
Shenanigans. We want to talk about shenanigans of the week. So it was, it seems to keep getting buried, but it's pretty fascinating that I think, they found some evidence.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's all kinds of weird shit coming out now, but you buy the notion that they're up there.
I mean, I guess it seems weird, right? Isn't there that theory? You must know what it's called. That it seems very improbable that we're alone out here, but yet, then where are they?
Right. Yeah.
There's a name for that, Stephen.
Yeah.
What's that called?
The Fermi paradox. I think
The
that might be the Fermi
paradox.
paradox.
That's what it is.
Oh,
Fermi
excuse me,
paradox.
guys. Boy, I didn't. Boy, I guess I'm the odd man out
Maybe you
here.
want to Google this, Paul. I don't know.
Okay,
Just,
sure.
you know.
No, but I mean, it's definitely, it's a paradox, but it seems it is no longer because now we know that they do exist, but we don't care or something. They're like,
Well, it could be
modern
it could be
paradox.
Chinese tech. It could be like I wouldn't say Russian tech. They seem to have their hands full. Could be Chinese tech of some kind that
What
we
does that
don't know,
mean?
understand. Like it could just be
but
they're
it's
seeing
doing-
these devices move all
Oh, I
like
see.
crazy, but no one said, like, or at least the higher ups aren't saying it's alien. They're just saying we don't recognize this shit. Like this,
But
is
it's
not
doing
in
stuff that nobody's been.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't seem likely because it's doing shit nobody's ever been able to do before.
Yeah, it seems to
Right?
violate some physics.
Yeah,
shit,
it's
propulsion.
violating
Yeah.
all known laws of physics, which is,
Well, yeah.
so that doesn't seem like it's anything man-made.
Isn't there something new going on in China where they can sort of like create their own weather? Do you know what I'm talking about?
That I've heard this actually, like
Yeah.
because they can like seed the clouds in a certain
Yeah.
way to like clean up the air like real fast. If some foreign dignitary is coming to visit, they could just fucking
Yeah.
fix the weather and then it
Really?
Isn't that
slips back
fucking
again. Or something.
wild?
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, they do that at your local ski resort. They can make it snow and shit like that, can't they?
I guess
It's not
that's
the.
true.
I mean, that's not. We're
Wow.
obviously not talking about the same thing. The Chinese government has got something a little bit more
No, that's
advanced
just
than
a snow
snowmaking
machine. That's like a
Yes.
Yeah.
fucking motor with like ice chipper.
That's interesting. But it's just like it's not related to the mystery contrails. Those things, is it? With
Oh,
the
right. Chemtrails.
chemtrails.
Right.
Thank
People
you.
love
Yeah,
those.
chemtrails.
People, yeah. People love those. I wish there was enough time in this life to really dig in on all these things. To
Hey,
be honest, I love all
listen.
these things.
So do I. And listen. Get yourself a podcast, and then you can do it. Anytime you want with
Oh, really?
luminaries such as yourself. You can
That's
sit around
right.
and talk about these things. Do
Yeah,
you
that'd be
do you
great.
believe in ghosts? Have you had supernatural experiences?
I guess I'm not opposed, but also have yet to see the evidence myself. But whenever anything is really in the lexicon, as much as something like ghosts or aliens are, I'm sort of on board. I'm like, I haven't seen it, but I sort of trust that enough people are into it that it's probably something. Something is. It's sort of a who am I to say there is no God type of thing.
You're
Like,
open-minded.
who am I
Yeah.
to say there are no ghosts or aliens or whatever the fuck? I would say I don't have enough information. I haven't had enough time with ghosts or aliens to really know firsthand that they are.
Don't let
or-
that stop you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Hasn't stopped
But-
me.
But I
Yeah.
love that other people have. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
love that we live in a world where they've had alien experiences and ghost experiences.
There's
I
a
think
lot of
that's
weird
great.
shit going on.
Yeah, I do enjoy that.
You were raised very religious, from what I read. Like
Were
when
you?
you were young, is that? And are you
yes.
still, or no?
Me, religious?
Yeah.
Are you Satanism or religion?
Yeah,
turns
yeah,
out
can
it
be.
is.
Sure.
All right, maybe I'll join. I guess. And I would say no. I'm not anything. I think I wasn't so much raised religious as my parents were both already pretty insane. That's how I emerged. But their parents were Auschwitz and Flatbush. Auschwitz on my mother's side, although she was born in Paris, but they're Hungarian, and on my father's side, they're sort of Flatbush, but Russian. And by the time my dad, I think, is already 6th generation American, so going back, so my grandfather's already like a pilot in the American Army in World War II.
Okay.
But so they're all kind of. But then my actual parents are already pretty out there, but still
Your
generation
grandparents,
removed.
your mother's parents, survivors, and they
My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, is a survivor, and grandfather was sort of more of a an underground, sort of like a war hero character who would wear an SS uniform and ride the trains. And sort of like, I think he was more in the smuggling Jews out to safety. It's and then they met up later after his wife was, I guess, tortured and died as his first wife. So it's a happy tale. And
listen.
And I guess on my father's side comes the only person I'm related to that's famous, Al Jaffe, who was the cartoonist from the back of Mad magazines.
The fold-em, what the hell did you call
the fold-em-ups, yeah. The fold-em-ups in the back of Mad magazine.
Whoa.
Now I'm eating pancakes.
What are you having? Are you having like tortellini or what are you eating? You're eating pancakes. Wait a minute. Were those just sitting there the whole time?
Yeah. We need video on this.
We really need video on this one because was it just a plate of pancakes that happened to be sitting there the whole time? Kicking back on a sunny Wednesday afternoon with a pile of flapjacks and a book on quantum physics.
Yep, it's Wednesday.
I mean, you've been in like 100 movies over 40 years.
Yeah, you were very prolific.
Right?
Yeah, but I just turned 26. Yeah.
Okay, so that's it's a time.
And I'm out here looking for a prepper. So, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but I made a lot of movies. Yeah.
You have made a lot of movies. And
why not?
Are you slowing down now? Yeah, I know. That's the thing. You like to work.
Yes, I am a workaholic. Yes.
Yeah, you like to stay busy. Yeah. I think I'm running out of steam. I think maybe I should take it easy. I'm old. I mean, look at me.
Are you?
I'm old. I'm getting there. I'm going to talk about the third act. Talk about sliding into your third act. Yeah. So it's like,
Are there aliens there? I'm just asking.
Listen, aliens. This is hence doing this whole thing because it's like this is the third act is talking about aliens and things like that
and Bigfoot
and Bigfoot because frankly I was tired of not talking about Bigfoot. I was tired.
You don't have to tell me. I'm like, we're going to talk about it in that.
Yeah.
Where is this guy?
Do you have an opinion?
I guess. I like a blurry photo, so I say yes, Bigfoot.
I like a blurry photo. Hey, we heard that your dog has had psychic work or something.
I heard your dog you consulted a psychic for your dog.
That's a typo. It's plastic surgery. Let me show you, Rootbeer. And look how gorgeous she is. And this dog is almost 14 years old. Doesn't look a day over one.
It does not.
I didn't take her to a plastic surgeon, though I've heard that that's something that people that are crazy enough to do.
That's not actually a thing, is it?
I did have Delia Ephron, Nora Ephron's partner in crime and sister, gave me her dog psychic because I was like, is Rootbeer happy? I was very concerned. And this woman came over and she said, it turns out that Rootbeer is actually your daughter from a past life.
Really?
And and it gets a little bit heavy and tragic from there. I guess she died. And anyway, Rootbeer and I have been together for like 13 years now.
Wow.
She was a dog napping. I met her at a Friendsgiving in the East Village. And she was my friend Dave Ransone's dog. She was such a little troublemaker, running around trying to find turkey.
You stole the dog from Dave.
It was love at first sight. I was like, who is that little troublemaker, Rootbeer? And then he asked me to dog sit. And when he went out of town.
That was a mistake.
I had 3,000 photos on like a BlackBerry or whatever it was. And I was like, look at this is my new kid. Like it was like and then I gave her back when he came back to town at the coffee shop and I was weeping. He went out of town again and he said, will you dog watch her again? And I said, yes. And when he got back to town, I said, that's my dog now. And so I got him a couple of chihuahuas.
She's beautiful. Dog's really cute.
Got him a couple of chihuahuas. Everybody
you got him in exchange. In exchange, you gave him 2 chihuahuas for that dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got the deal. You got the better deal.
You really did get the better end. You got the good end of that deal. Unbelievable. I'm told that this is it for our time with you. That you need to you have a heart out at.
I have a heart out. Do I have a slate or something? Where am I going? Oh, look at this. I guess I'm speaking at a university from 5:30 to 6:30.
Teaching quantum
Oh, you really?
mechanics.
Well, what do you
just-
know? You're
I
actually
just
you're
looked at
giving,
him. I sort of take it moment to moment over here. I was looking forward to talking to you guys. It seemed like
Yeah.
you're up to
It
something.
was really fun.
likewise.
It was really
this
fun.
was a
Thank
good
you
time.
for doing
we
it.
should do
Yeah.
it again sometime.
Yeah.
It would be enjoyable.
A B-side.
Yeah.
Welcome prepared.
We should do it live on
Definitely.
stage sometime.
Okay.
Well, listen, you
Thank
take
you.
care. You take care
Thank
now.
you, Natasha.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much.
God
Bye.
bless. Well, that was dandy, wasn't it, Steve, once again?
That was a lot of fun. Another great chin wag. Fantastic.
Amazing. We hope that you enjoyed the chin wag. Thanks for listening. So,
We'll just keep adding it
yes,
every
indeed.
day.
And don't forget to like us, follow us, rate us, review us, all that good stuff. We love to hear from you. Until next time, friends, wag on.
Chinwag is a production of Treefort Media and Touchy Feely Films, hosted and executive produced by Paul Giamatti and Stephen Asma. Executive producers for Treefort are Kelly Garner and Lisa Ammerman. Dan Carey is executive producer for Touchy Feely. Our series producer is Rachel Whitley Bernstein, with additional producing by Mary Chulenza. Original theme music by Luke Top, with additional music by Via Mardot. Oscar Guido is our executive in charge of production. Tom Monahan is head of audio for Treefort. Our associate producer is Aidan Brooks. Audio production supervision by Jared Brom and Matt Dyson. Editing and mixing by Matt Dyson. Lastly, for more information, go to chinwagpod.fm and find us on Instagram or TikTok at chinwagpod or on Twitter at chinwag_pod.